Yeah, we are here with Team LDLC and Team Refuse, and it looks like LDLC was able to go first. Doth my eyes deceive me? Is that a pirate in the Black Hearts Bay?
That is. No more Cursed Hollow, no more of the Raven, Nevermore, melancholy poetry. We are getting into the thick of it and the Pirates of the Caribbean Bay. The draft, though, LDLC Bandit Tehran with Refuse, banning out the Illidan. And once again, Sean, we're seeing the same foundation for a strong lineup, strong backline lineup with a Vala and Sergeant Hammer pickup, followed by the Malfurion. This Malfurion, the Malfurion is what really enables these teams that are all about these slow poke, slow push sort of strategies. Because once he gets Tranquility, he can get Life Seed at 13, which is basically a free regrowth in tandem with improved regrowth at level 7. It's just it's a ridiculous amount of sustained healing. He has Healing Totem as well. The dude is a beast as long as you can survive through the burst damage. Team Refuse on the other side are going to pick themselves up a Nazebo and a Rhaegar. No Illidan today. Rhaegar being picked up nonetheless. I think what we might see out of them here is they have a couple options for a frontline warrior, because LDLC with that lineup, you know that they're going to have to get themselves a strong frontliner. I won't be surprised if they are putting priority onto a Stitches. They could have picked up Stitches there over the Malfurion, but they put a little more priority on the Malfurion. So Refuse has to take that into account. Anytime you see these lineups, the Stitches thrown into it just throws it out of control, and it's such a strong lineup. I won't be surprised if they get themselves the Stitches for themselves and deny it from LDLC.
Team Refuse is really taking their time. I mean, they are already dipping heavily into that time pool to figure out these next round of picks. But as you said, I mean, Team LDLC has some really powerhouse picks lined up and ready to go. And it is Blackheart's Bay after all. So will it be a tank into the bottom lane? Will it be the Vala down there? It's going to be somebody, but Refuse, there they go, finally a pick. It's going to be a Diablo for their front line. And, you know, we did just see that solo tank Diablo not really do some stellar things from this Team Swedish powerhouse. So if Team Refuse is actually going to have the solo Diablo tank, and he can solo tank, mind you, but he really needs like some nice follow-up. Because he can take one target out of a fight, and then he can throw down that lightning breath, which is, you know, all well and good. But if he's not going to live through it, or there's no capitalization on the back of it, I mean, you're not really using him as best as you can.
Yeah, he needs some sort of follow up, and that's what Refuse is going to have to pick up here. They need, I mean, they have a Nazebo, which is good and all. They don't have a Vol, they don't have a Hammer. A couple other options. I actually think Jaina could be okay, though Jaina is a hero that's basically teams pick her up consistently or don't pick her up at all. I don't know enough about to Refuse. I can get down with that Tychus pick. I think the Tychus pick is a well-rounded pick. Good assassin, good zone control with grenade overkill, so they can do some harassment at the turn-in. But their fifth pick is going to be pivotal to how this is going to go, especially once LDLC picks up their warrior. And again, Stitches is on the table, ETC is on the table, Shen is also on the table. Ooh. So it's going to be interesting to see what they pick up. And if they go with maybe a double warrior, are we going to see double support as Uther is available as well? That's what we saw last match with alternate. They picked themselves up a Uther and Malfurion and played it to perfection. So, and they don't have much time pool left. They only have about 50 seconds after this. So they got to think. They got to think fast. It's going to be interesting to see what they pick up here. They have a lot of options available to them.
So if it is a double support, Uther definitely lends a lot to that, because the stuns, the controls, the, you know, as you said, if you can survive through the burst, well, he does a lot of burst healing with that Uther as well. So that complements the Malfurion very nicely. But if it is going to be that, then you're probably looking at an ETC or a Chen for that tank. If they don't want to, I'm curious to see if we're going to see a Zeratul coming into the mix of things, because the Zeratul Void Prison onto the backline with that Tychus, with the Nazebo, stops out the Ravenous, stops out any potential Odin, and it allows the positioning, like, just to get there. So if it is going to be like an ETC, you could see a Zeratul ETC Wombo. On the back of that, you could also see, you know, Rain of Vengeances and all that. You could also set up for the Carpet, because they're going to take themselves at Stitches. EU really does heavily favor that Stitches a lot more than an Aegis does. Always got to keep that in the back of my mind. So what's it going to be? Is it going to be another DPS? Will it be another tank? Will it be another support? LDLC has a lot of freedom here.
I feel like it's either going to be Zagara or Uther. That's what I'm feeling right now. Is either a Zagara, which will supplement the backline once again, and that would be a ridiculously strong team right there with either one of them.
3 DPS, more or less. Yeah.
The 3 DPS or the double healer. Stitches can get amplified healing. He can go chew your food at 1. And no, you called it, Sean. There's that Zeratul. So well done.
Yes.
Zeratul is definitely going to bring a lot to the table here. Yeah, it's going to be consistent interrupt for if Tychus goes Odin, for Nazebo's Ravenous Spirit. It's going to be interesting to see. And now they have a Tassadar over on Team Refuse. So Team Refuse just has a overall really well-rounded lineup. They don't have any, they're not going all in on any sort of, one big strategy, hard initiation, a lot of dive. Diablo does have some dive, but hard dive would be like a Diablo Illidan or ETC or something like that. LDLC didn't go full ham with the Protect the Hammer, but they definitely have a lot of Protect the Hammer. That's definitely the foundation of their lineup, and we're going to see him play into that. And with the Zeratul and that, man, Zeratul kind of brings some similarities of what a Zagara does, specifically to how Devouring Maw and the Void Person kind of share the same purpose in team fights, and that's to take people out of the team fight for any given time when they use big cooldowns. So that Zeratul is going to have to really land some great Void Prisons, and it's that good old Stitches Zeratul duo combination, which we've seen for the better part of about 4 months now.
Yeah, a fun combo with the Stitches Zeratul is the hook, and then as everybody tries to converge, oh god, I gotta save the hook target. You Void Prison them. Yeah.
Exactly.
Definitely something a bit more fun that you can do, a little bit more old school in that regard. And looks like we're getting into this one. Tadarka? There he is, Tadarka. Okay, so Tadarka is Team LDLC, so they will be sitting on the red side of things. So they might be left-hand side on the draft, but they're right-hand side in the game. So I'm just going to update that to reflect. But those are your teams. Those are your heroes, and this is your map, ladies and gentlemen, as we're getting into our last of the round of 16, the round 2 matches. As I said, not entirely too sure why it got delayed, but happy that we're going to be able to see LDLC in the flesh.
I'm looking forward to it. It's Blackheart's Bay, so there's always that aspect of where teams can play to the map and basically
just me out.
They did. I'm letting you back. They said, get out here. The aspect of where teams can just, once they get ahead, stay ahead through just roaming around the map and getting mercenary camps, collecting coins, turning in camps, getting the boss. Once top lane is open for either team, you get a boss at like the 15-minute mark, and sometimes that just outright wins the game. If the keep is down, you can just push the core, especially when you have like a Zeratul, when you have these big displacement tools like that LDC have. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do here. I feel like I favor LDLC's draft simply because it's that continuing trend of the lineups built around those just insanely good backliners, like a Sergeant Hammer, like a Vala. Obviously, LDLC has 2 of those. In tandem with the Malfurion Stitches as well, man. It's just, it's so very strong. Teams, it forces the enemy team to pretty much be the aggressor. When you have a lineup like a Sergeant Hammer, Stitches, Malfurion, you don't have to be the aggressor. You can just push. Be like, all right, you're either going to respond to us or you're not. Either way, we're going to gain some sort of advantage. And the person who does have to be the aggressor has to initiate so damn well, because the healing from a Malfurion, if they don't burst a person down, if they don't kill a person in that initial phase of that fight, then the tranquility is going to heal everyone up. The healing totem is going to heal everyone up. And all of a sudden, Rhaegar is going to be down as just healing. He cannot keep up with the sustain of a Malfurion. And they can just win the team fights from there.
Absolutely. So we are in the game, ladies and gentlemen, and we're just waiting for these guys to do the ready. And yeah, sorry for the kick. Well, that's okay, Konis. You're a good guy. But you don't get to see a lot of Blackheart's Bay, but definitely one of the more PvE maps out there. As you said, LDLC, they can go a lot of ways on this. They could just do their slow advance with the siege. They could go for the picks. Will we see a roam? I suspect we will see a bit more of a Zeratul roam. I'm thinking, at least more traditionally, you see more Sergeant Hammer into the bottom lane on the Blackhearts, because there's more or less, there's less roaming because the map just doesn't really synergize very well with that. Like the 2 top lanes are very close. Then you got like this really far bottom lane. So you don't really see a ton of roam between the top and the bottom. It's usually a lot of emphasis on the top, especially the Watchtower, the first tower. That could lead you into some really good siege situations, but eventually they will come a knocking. So if we are going to go down there, you said Zagara a little bit earlier. I was thinking Zagara with creep tumors as early ward placements. That's definitely a really nice early warning system.
Very much so.
But they didn't actually go for it. They are going to go for a bit more of the team fighting centric style and roam of Zeratul. So who is Refuse going to put in the bottom lane? You could put the Witch Doctor down there. Witch Doctor against a tank is pretty ebb and flow. You could put the Tassadar down there as well and just farm up your Conjurer's Pursuit, or you can go for your Psy Storms again, which we've seen a few times now. There's a lot of ways that these teams can go, and I'm not entirely too sure. Like, how does EU really play out black cards? Is it more PvE centric? Is it more team fight into taking objectives? Could we see less team fights and more, creeps and coin collection? And there's a lot of ways that we can do it, and we just don't really see this map that often.
Yeah, I know on the North American side, teams despise it. That's putting it lightly. They don't want to fight on it. Got to keep it here. Okay, there we go. So we are readied up. The match should be starting here in just a moment. It's going to be this Diablo pick. We see it this match. We saw it the match before.
Yep.
And it's that continuing trend of, stand your ground strategies with a Sergeant Hammer versus we have an initiation hero that can get into your back lines and kill your back lines. And I feel like ETC is much better at that than Diablo. Diablo is good, don't get me wrong, but I feel like he's not being played in the correct role that is most optimal for him. I think Diablo in a heavy pick-off composition, which is different than a dive composition. There's definitely a lot of similarities, but there's also a lot of big differences between the two. But I feel like ETC would fill the role of this Diablo a little bit more, in my humble opinion. That's just... I feel like he is good at a little bit more zone control. Diablo can get into the back line, but his zone control is very minimal after he uses Overpower. It's a very small stun. It gets you out of position, but when you're a hero like Sergeant Hammer, Vala, Zeratul, all of them have reliable escapes. So if there's not an immediate zombie wall or immediate... pretty much that's about it. That's the really only hard CC is zombie wall and the Rhaegar Earth Totem. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with this.
It's not even hard CC.
Yeah, it's not even hard CC. They are lacking hard CC against a team where it's all about killing a target down, because if you don't, then you're just going to lose the attrition fight. So I don't know what their game plan is here, but it's going to be interesting. The gates are down, ladies and gentlemen, and this is going to be the series, best of one series between LDLC and Team Refuse. There is a hook. Honest is caught out of position. He's going to be all right, though, getting killed up from Rhaegar, and just the good old team fight for the Watchtower right here.
Yeah, the happy face, the smiley. We've seen this time and time again. It's all about trying to get that watchtower for some of these guys, but you don't need to, get it, guys. It's okay. You don't have to get it. If you lose people trying to take it, that's not really doing any favors this early on. And we said, there's a lot of focus on this top area. It was a 5-man stack here from Refuse, who was on your blue-hand side here. And they were looking for that pressure, but unfortunately they are just not getting it. Hooked into Storms, into just lots and lots of death. But back and forth, the healers are doing their work, and so far no kills either way, although Refuse is going to come back to this with a lot more hit points. To Darko's got to be careful. He's all right. But coins, hooks, and Conus, and that actually could be the first Diablo. Nope.
Oh.
Very close. Very close.
So apparently we're in Haunted Mine, Sean, because there's only 2 lanes in this map according to these teams. Finally, there we go. Someone is rotating up the top lane to soak that experience. This has been a big skirmish over that top chest right there. Good hook on a Tychus. Running gun is up. Killering is going for the knockback. He gets it.
Did you see those mines?
He gets it. That style points coming out from LDLC right there, getting themselves that first blood. Well done by them. Looking at the coin count, it looks pretty even, 6-4, so no turn-ins quite yet. But the experience, definitely in favor of LDLC right now.
Yeah, as you said, I mean, nobody was into that top lane, and now they got nobody soaking the bottom. That's a lie. Toxical's there, so he's going to be soaking up a bit here, but they have lost out massive amounts of experience. Darka has picked up 5 coins. He's going to dunk them down into the coffers there of Blackheart, and I gotta say, those mines really got me there from Killercino at the end. Like, those mines just beeline right for the Tychus after that hook. It was amazing stuff from LDLC. So this early game advantage, I did suspect it was going to be a Witch Doctor down here up against the tank, and eventually that has now come to pass. Yeah, there's going to be a zombie wall here. I don't think Killercino actually cares. No, he will, actually. All right, he'll Zed on out of that, and use that concussive blast to get them out of their way. But level 4 now from both sides. We got some mercs now being taken from both sides, Mr. Shane.
So both of these teams mirroring each other's actions. I was about to say the next tribute spawn. Not the next tribute spawn. Level 4 talents, the Zeratul going with Gathering Power. The kind of build we've been seeing from Zeratul's recently isn't with Gathering Power. It's with the other talent, which name escapes me. But basically the talent where you throw singularity spikes and they do AoE damage anyways. The Gathering Power obviously received a significant nerf in the Lost Vikings patch. And we haven't seen the big Gathering Power Zeratul. Not to say that it's lost any of its strength. It's still a very powerful tool. Once you get those 6 Gathering Power stacks in the late game with Rewind, double Singularity Spike, it does an absurd amount of damage if you're able to land all 4. That's a very hard thing to do, but if it does happen, if the stars do align, generally that's just going to be a dead person no matter what you do.
There was a gank into the bottom lane, and now gank for gank, it's going to be the collapser on top of Nara. Nara does have to use that blink out, but it's not enough to get out of the overkill, and Konus will take him to town. Konus, however, will not live past that, and that's going to be a nice dunk into Dark. He picks up 4 more coins on the back of that. Now we do have level 7. You see the first aid tick, and this is going to be a hook. Oh, the hook gets interrupted by the grenade.
Wow.
Fixie, the god. Killer Shino has nothing in the back of this, and I didn't actually know you could interrupt a hook. So today I learned. That was phenomenal.
That was so close.
I guess technically it is like a channel. It's just like a 1-second channel, I guess.
Yeah, it has the animation for it, which is very, very cool. That's why you can cleanse hooks.
Yeah, but that doesn't stop it from, you know, casting.
That's true.
I don't think I've ever seen a hook canceled like that before. So, Fixie, the god, look at that.
Level 7 here for both teams. Witch Doctor going with the Mule, which I think is the pretty standard thing to go here on a Blackheart's Bay. You do have to give up Gidbin for it, which gives you a pretty big boost of damage on your abilities, but what you gain in return is it's definitely a strong investment to use that, as long as you're smart about it and you're using it off cooldown, and you can time it actually really well if you know how the cannon fire works. You can time it to where it forces an extra volley or 2, depending on what structure it is and whatnot. We're going to see that. Up here in top lane, Darka getting dunked on. Overkill being laid on Nara. There's a hook on to Fixie. Can he make another one of these magical escapes? He's a lot of damage going into it, but he's going to be healed up through the double totem and the shield from Tassadar. And it looks like LDLC are definitely on the winning exchange of this team fight, trying to get themselves a kill. Konus is so very low. He's going to get away with 50 HP. That last shield from the Tassadar, keeping him alive. But even though no one went down there, again, LDLC are a level ahead. They have a huge amount of coins on their side. They're pushing down these tier 1 towers. They're in a great position as we transition into a mid-game here, Sean.
Oh, we just put a Mule bottom lane, and that is the worst timing ever because Tadarka, 10 coins. That's now going to be this push mid, and that is going to be a fort for sure. So you're talking about like a timing to force out extra volley. Well, we're not going to be throwing any cannonballs into that bottom lane. That's where that Mule will reside for the next 30 seconds and 60 more for the cooldown. So not the best of timing there from Refuse, but overall for the coins, it has been more or less going the way of LDLC pretty consistently. We have been farming up and ganking and creep jacking, or coin jacking, I suppose. Quite a few of them here from LDLC, and 2 kills to 1, that's fine, but still, that's now the mid fort gone. This is the top gate gone, and we pull ahead. Experience level almost 12 to 10.
Looking at the side of Refuse for talents, we're seeing a build that has long been postulated but not actually put into play, at least for me, and that is the right-click Tychus build.
The right-click Tychus build.
The auto-attack Tychus build. Sorry,
well,
right-click's a Dota thing. The auto-attack Tychus build. Vampiric Assault at 4.
Yep.
Syrian attacks at 7. Now with an Odin, because don't forget, with the new Odin, you can use activatable abilities in it, like your 1, 2, 3, 4 abilities like that. You can use that in the Tychus, in the Tychus Odin. So now Odin with Syrian attacks, things like that. If you get Bolt of the Storm, you can see a Odin bolt away, which is always very shocking when you first see it. So it's going to be interesting to see what Fixie does with this. I'm definitely going to keep an eye on his numbers, but more importantly, keep an eye on what he can get done with this auto attack build in team things.
Well, yeah, as soon as we saw those auto attacks, should have just kind of expected the Odin to come out from there. And as I said, you know, we can really set up a lot with that Zeratul. The problem is Tychus is on the other side, which means if he gets caught at all, Void Prison or not, I mean, there's no extra safety health bar on that Odin anymore. So he's got to be very careful with all that. and we'll have to see if that will come out to pass. So 13, I'm curious to see, will that be Giant Killer then instead of Relentless that we normally have seen in the past? And as you said a little bit earlier, we don't really have a lot of hard CC. It's just really the roots here that he has to worry about. So time will tell as they're taking the boss. Bottom lane was taken out by the fort from LDLC, and now with some of these bruisers pushing into the top, now the boss pushing into the top, that should be at least the gate. That's going to put some good experience into the pocket of Refuse.
And level 13 is a big talent for Malfurion, and that is the Life Seed. It's so much free healing. It's pretty much just set it and forget it, where anytime anyone's around you that has anything but full HP automatically goes off. There it is right there on the follow. Because Malfurion, one of his weaknesses in the early game is he runs out of mana really, really fast. But once he gets into the mid game, and with Life Seed, and he's able to get up stacks of Conjurer's Pursuit, it's just you can't out heal him. In a long team fight, Malfurion will almost always win against any other healing support. No one has the amount of sustain that Malfurion has. But obviously, on the other side of the coin is his burst healing is very underwhelming, and it's one of the ways to deal with it. And that's why I was a little bit skeptical about the draft at first. But obviously, it's doing all right now. Level 13 to level 15, LDLC are definitely in a favorable position. They are charging down to get those tier 2 towers. If they get those tier 2 towers, that's going to put them right near level 16.
Well, it's not going to be any kind of big base race coming out from Refuse.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just nowhere near that same kind of position. And as you know, putting into that backline with that Sergeant Hammer, that gate has not lived whatsoever. Where is the team? Looks like Tassadar was actually turning in. Everybody is now back, but the gate is down, and the damage has started chipping away here at this keep. It's going to be the charge in. Conus using the Shadow Charge to get in there. Here comes the Void Prison. The Apocalypse is going to get the stun, but there's no follow-up from it at all. It's going to be the death of Nazebo, and here comes now the Odin. He does not have that Giant Killer, and in fact, I'm not too sure how many Architects he's going to get off, but Nara is not going to live through it. Between the focus of the Archon and that Odin, here's the hook, and that should be the double on top of the Tassadar. I want to say Killer Chino in position, but the prescience is real. Koto Kok is going to live through it, but does Diablo know he's alive? I'm not sure he knew. Yeah, that 5-second timer.
Diablo.
That 5 seconds. Sometime. Either way, there's the keep. So 2 kills in the keep. That has now really catapulted us here for LDLC.
Good hook on Takoto, but he's gonna dimensional shift away. A Ravenous Spirit kind of just haphazardly being used. That was an interesting choice. LDLC, that Void Prison was so well done. If it wasn't for that Void Prison, that team fight could have gone a little bit awry for him. But because they are able to get the Tychus and the Rhaegar in it, plus the Rhaegar Ancestor Healing was completely off the mark. It should have gone on the Diablo, but it went on the Archon, who had full HP. So a couple misplays out of Refuse, and a couple really good plays out of LDLC. They're in a great position. Conus, got to be careful. He already used a Shadow Charge. Once he's committed, he's committed. Ancestor Healing being used, I feel, a little bit prematurely. It did top him off. I guess they know that he is at 90 Soul Stones. I don't know if he went with the Resurrection. No, he did not. So if he goes down here, he is dead for upwards of about 45 seconds at this stage of the game. Goodbye, Shark.
Whoa. Yeah, seriously.
Free Willy. Willy is now free. Except he was a whale, not just Shark. But that's okay. This is a Blackheart Spades. We're all about that Shark. Level 16 is here for Refuse. And so they're on even at talent tiers right now. So they need to do something. This is their opportunity to do it. Because once level 20 is here for LDLC, they're going to be in just such a very, very good position.
Big turn-in right there from the ODLC. I mean, they had the map positioning. They have not only the Stone Bros now pushing in, they're going for these bruisers. The counter bruisers in the top are going to be pushed out here from Refuse, but it's going to be either a big team fight, at least a big defend into this bottom lane. Every ultimate was ready to go. Oh, the hook, the fishing hook finds Conus, and hopefully he has those souls ready to go this time. That's going to be another Ancestral. That's going to be the Apocalypse on the back of it as well. Fixie in the back is not going to be in that Void Prison. In fact, it's just the Ravenous out there, and we're going to be looking for that interrupt as soon as we can. Conus is now put more on the retreat. Fixie needs to get more of these auto attacks going. Unfortunately, the big target is Tadarka in the front. The Zeratul keeps linking back and forth, and Volatar is just doing so much work with that healing from the Malfurion. There's not going to be a single kill. But everybody has fought at their heart's content, and on the back of it all, I mean, that mid-gate is now no longer because of that turn-in.
So level 16 on Sergeant Hammer, we're not seeing hover mode. We're not seeing that extended range. We're seeing the Executioner with a Tenacious Roots Malfurion at level 16. The Putrid Bile coming out. That is a lot of reliable snares, and any sort of CC for Sergeant Hammer's damage just absolutely skyrocket on any target in tandem with the Giant Killer. So the single target damage coming out from that Sergeant Hammer is off the charts as long as they are in some sort of CC, but looking at the lineup, that's going to be pretty easy to do. Bruiser Camp taken by Refuse, and now they're going into this this Golem. They got to be careful because LDLC is hot on pursuit here, and they know what's going on.
Odin is down for another 15 seconds or so. That's going to be a really good zombie wall, actually. Zarka has no choice except just to sit there for it. Does not really take that huge amount of damage. I mean, he's already back to the full hit points here. Vixie cannot say the same. Oh, the rate of vengeance cut off this hit, and the Rhaegar ult is not going to be on point. There goes Rhaegar on top of it as well. Boss is denied. Refuse is about to drop 3. We still got the Diablo up for in 5 seconds, but will Toxical get out of this one? The answer is no. That's going to be a Void Prison, and here comes the collapse. Kodakot has got to get out of Dodge as quick as he can. Konus has come back, though, but has he only come back to die? The prescience is there, and we're looking for those bombs. Unfortunately, Nara already threw it out. The hook is not real. And at 19-17 with 3 now looking for the 4th kill. No, 4 looking for the 5th kill because Konus came back from the 5 seconds and keeps down. This could be game right here, Shane.
More than likely, LDLC basically outclassing Refuse. Though they are refusing to give this game up. There's an Apocalypse. Only really hit the Sergeant Hammer. She's going to tank that up like a boss. Nara is just suiciding on top of the core. Kamikaze the core, but the ship goes down nonetheless. LDLC taking this game in a very convincing fashion. Official game time, 14 minutes and 8 seconds, 9 kills for LDLC, 3 for Team Refuse. Just not much else to say there other than LDLC's a really good team.
Yep.
And Team Refuse